Hi, this is addressed at Dirangashi from DA. I had a fan who said that you owed them artwork from about 6 months ago. About October, I think. They expressed that you moved on to other pieces. Is there another reason for this? I don't suppose I could toss you some publicity if this individual could simply get what she paid for. Now, first things first, I want to apologize for my shit grammar and my horrible spelling. I do write like a 4-year-old, and my apologies. Also, don't worry, I'll be keeping your personal issues private. I'm sure you're a lovely human being. Under normal circumstances, I'm going to provide a link to your DA, so when you get right with your current situation and you feel comfortable taking on more work, I'll be glad to guide people in your direction. Please bear with me. I can see why someone after 6 months would be upset. I understand that your current situation does not provide for a refund. Keeping in mind, if you're not able to offer such a thing to your customers after 6 months, even considering your private situation, the onus is on you to deliver what you owe. You made plenty sure to take and spend that money. It's certainly not your customer's fault that you are where you are now. This right here is me with super kid gloves, because I do appreciate your situation. I'm sure that we've all had our bad days, and sometimes we make messages that we might not entirely mean. I look forward with bright eyes and bushy tails and excitement to your next reply, which I'm certain will be a lot more chipper and enthusiastic, and your tenor will massively improve. I believe in your inherent goodness, in the inherent goodness in all of those in the creative arts, and my fans believe in you. And I bet your fans believe in you, and I bet we would all be disappointed if this whole matter was anything other than a misunderstanding. Godspeed and take care. And again, we look forward to hearing from you real soon. I'm going to put two men side by side. One is on the Candy Mountain list, i.e. the hit list, and the other is simply there for contrast. Breathe, it's gonna be okay. First, if you saw last week's video, where I clearly came out and said, "This is nothing," when I talked about Ryan Reno Mills, I said my piece, and many of my peers almost instantly stated that they missed Ryan. But that is what it is. It's the parting of ways over philosophical differences, and I'm sure we'll peek back at that in time and recall the good old days now and again. And while I've been able to reunite with people like Shelly D or Vito or various other peoples, the next individual will be not so much. This is Aino Haisenshi. You may know Aino, Postscript, as the second highest viewed podcast on King of Limbo. I've often remarked that Aino, had he been driven, his personality and his talent would allow him to go far in the community. We're long past that point. Last Friday, after a myriad of complaints, ones I've very gently tapped Aino on the shoulder for, Aino became reprimanded for telling Dark Edge to kill himself in the Secret Now again, back in How Not to Brony 32, I specifically took my time to shit on the old Rift Cafe to let Aino Haisenshi know that we would rather have him than any of them as friends. It was my honor, nay my privilege, to roast the second opinion on your behalf, Aino, and I regret nothing. During that roast, as gently as I could, I reminded Postscript, I'm sure in at least maybe one other video as well, hey Aino, you might want to cool it down a little bit out. Aino, you want something to worry about? Improve your standing in the community. You're already doing better than any of those assholes. And you're doing next to nothing. Now, it's not as if the guy named Dark Edge can't take being told to kill himself. Dark Edge is a long way from a cinnamon roll, as one can possibly get. Not to mention the Secretrift has knowingly bent the rules, stretched them, hell, we've thrown them out, to remember a man who's been with the Rift since a male alicorn. Again, I'm grateful for you lending me your time, just out of sheer fucking exhaustion. When I was asked one more time, what are we going to do about your behavior, I just said, fuck it, let's toss him out for a week. The message was carried to the Rift mod chat, to where Lilac Galaxy and Spirited Rainbow both fought over who was going to throw you the fuck out of the room. Spirited Rainbow, who is entirely capable of standing her ground, isn't some ruthless e-thug, and she couldn't wait for you to be fucking gone. Do you know what happened when Aino Haisenshi was tossed out, my dear friends? The room erupted in cheers and celebration, and again, I was a little shocked, honestly. Alright, I've become massively shocked that of the people who approached me publicly and privately wanted you gone, there were Back when Foxwell and Yiffle got tossed, we got more of a backlash. It was nothing like this. When Fallen Wish was tossed out of Limbo, there was obviously a sigh of relief, but that whole incident was gone in the blink of an eye after that sigh. The reason why I bring this up is, I've never seen a human being in any of the 4 rifts that I've been in who fucked up this bad. I know, after you've hit the point of no return, you said that you didn't want to be Keyblade, and I know, honestly, at least Keyblade had Fallen Wish defending him. Shark Discusses had a defense team. Kodo BPM had his defenders. Oh wait, I know, you had me. You turned me into Sweetie Bloom. You turned me into the Looney Turtle. Or every other corrupt butthole who hasn't respected the needs of the room. And Sunday, after I got off of work, after I got done with 12 hours, I begged you to come into Limbo so that we could hash things out. Apologize to some of the people who you had been pissing off, which, by the way, Kichi was recording that call because she left a recorder on, and she said in all her years, and her time as a brony, what she heard, which was unlike anything in the realm of stupidity that she has ever witnessed. Your excuses and responses, from suicidal thoughts, to mental defects, to physical threats,
oh baby, a triple!
That only seem to arise when you are predominantly, but not exclusively, dealing with men. I've also noticed, for the first in a very long time, there have been more notifications in the Rift than Limbo after you left. Forget the fact that you managed to piss off Irish John and Solar Flare. Putting it mildly, Keyframe and Lightning Bliss have both expressed their concerns about you. Again, concerns is putting it hyper mildly. You have been unrepentant, unproductive, and an ulcer. No one in the history of the Rift has screwed up in this form or fashion. Not to mention that you tried to bring in moderators from your chat to vouch for you. Jesus Christ, when the PFC used to get into Rift hearings, the people that they brought along were at least in the goddamn room. You know what bums me out, I know? I wanted to use you as an example to rebuff Ryan's remark here, that I do not make friends. I only merely make connections. As that you have zero tactical, useful appeal to keep you around, I know. I can have friends who are bottomless sinkholes that are just there to piss people off. I was gonna say, hey look, I have my own doodle tones. Except now I can't. I guess I really am just some fuck who uses people, I know. Thank you for that. And the funny thing is, people like me better that way. You have to excuse me now. I think I hear the bus. Make sure that you crawl under it before it shows up. And when you get there, to that miserable place that you so richly deserve, send me a letter. We'll be over here having a fun time without you. So, quick thought.
So now let's look at British Ninja's thing, since it seems like you wanted him to be the crux of that.
If it's one thing that head mod Fallen Wish was terrible at, it was transparency. Much like a certain president of the United States, Fallen didn't tell anyone before dropping a bomb. Allow me to fill you in on some history. Over the autumn of 2015, Fallen Wish, while still head mod, ran into some real-life trouble, and as such was inactive for weeks on end. So, me and Secret decided to use some damn initiative and take charge of the room for a few months, and for what it's worth, we did a pretty good job. Then Fallen came back and realized that people began to like myself and Secret in charge instead of her. Then on Christmas Day, she demodded her entire staff without telling the mods or the chat. When the chat found out, there was an uproar on how abusive Fallen was being with her power. This only decreased her popularity as leader in the room, with her begrudgingly letting us back into power after the chat demanded us back. With the chat getting angrier and angrier at the sheer lack of information she gave, Looney stepped in to help her out. But after a few more attempts of getting rid of us, most of the chat saw through Looney's lying bullshit as well. Fallen Wish needed someone new to help damage control while she abused her power, as well as someone who would agree with her position to back her up in fighting our influence on the chat. This is where the second opinion steps in. Now obviously he didn't know it at the time, but the second opinion was not added because he was a good mod. He was added by Fallen because she was losing the argument. That's the objective truth. No one voted for you. There was meant to be a meeting, but Fallen decided to go ahead with it and chuck you in without actually consulting the other mods to see if it was a good idea.
Yeah, that was not hard to figure out. Granted, I did talk to the moderator besides me who stayed on after this was over, who said that she did also vote for me, and claiming that the only thing the former head mod based her choice on was willingness to be a puppet is very cynical, vindictive speculation, but no, it was clear from the start that the rest of the mods who didn't know me were indifferent to me at best. To me, it meant I was the newbie who could either do a good job or I'd be a bust. I had no way of knowing the team was already irreparably divided. Though incidentally, not to try to be Shyamalan, I was friends with Secret Dreamer longer than I was friends with the former head mod. Up to there, instead of the Rift, I'd spent most of my Skype time in her group, the QVP. She was even the one who welcomed me to the Rift in the first place. And you can ask any mod who was in the call with the person verifying that she and British Ninja had lied about the secret rift to the other mods. I was the first one looking for possible holes in the story, from whether the group verifiably was what it sounded like to whether it could be an imposter secret as she claimed it was. But besides that, the only appropriate thing for me to do was ask the chat to be patient while we got it sorted out without spreading any rumors either way, because I had no way of knowing what the secret rift actually was, which turned out to be a group of people who'd already decided they were done with the rift and wanted to usurp it. I hadn't witnessed any of the tension between the mods beforehand. I mean, not to answer this with an extended shrug, but it doesn't warrant anything else.
Cynical, vindictive speculation. 1 mod as opposed to 4. That was your standard? 1/4 the usual is cynical. So instead of math, we're to take your emotional appeal because your fifis are hurt? Also, as someone who was in Secret Dreamer's fan chat, Secret Dreamer reminded me that we all voted unanimously on your inclusion to not be there. Not to mention, when I was in Secret Spare Room, it was pretty vast, and if I remember, it had people like Keyblade in it, which is part of the reason why I fucked off. So here it is. I have a combination of myself, British Ninja, and Secret Dreamer in the opposition to your lowly second opinion. We could play he said, she said, all night and day. Second, unfortunately in this instance, you really only have yourself, so you're waiting for a full response. How about you learn basic math? And secondly, get someone else who can honestly back up your story. Or at the very least, get a friend who's, well, you know, willing to be your friend. I heard your closing. If Ifngia responds again, gasp, you'll just call the matter done. Well, gee shucks, you can saunter out here and bite your lip and pout and go done after 26 minutes of joining on and literally talking out your ass. By the way, how you did a drama video and didn't crack 1,000 views is beyond me. It's almost like no one wanted to support it. Dear Iris Prison, we, and when I say we, I mean everyone I know, including some of the more relevant people up the chain of the brony fandom, are delighted, enthused, exhilarated, that hopefully this is the return to your sanity, where you can go back to your friends, if they'd like, that you've made the right decision. I say this with zero snark or dismissiveness in my voice. I pray this is going to become a shining example for everyone screwing up out there today, that Shining Prism has opted to make a wise move. And the confusion of everyone else in the audience remains that way, because hopefully we won't have anything to talk about here. That's a hint, by the way. Please, pretty please behave.
It says something about the discourse surrounding an episode when one side of that discourse has to lie to make their bullshit sound more credible.
Dear Lily, oh, I must congratulate you. You made this a lot harder than I expected to weigh in because, full disclosure, I don't watch Steven Universe. I was about to skip this. It's summed up well enough until you get to the real life points, which, regretfully, all you need to know is if Lily Pete is a crackpot or not.
Part of it all, a series built around an oppressed lower class rising up against the harsh oligarchs who were taking advantage of them, a theme that is very fucking topical right.
So the both sides of this argument are this. Those being Republican and Democrat. Can you understand this? If you're something else, sadly I can't help you here. Back in the day, the Republican Party put George W. Bush in the office, who winded up putting us in massive debt, but also made America widely hated throughout the world, and his stupidity reflected poorly on the United States. This is why Democrats voted for Barack Obama. And still, till this day, they remember the man fondly. This is a super abbreviated side of the left. It wasn't about social justice, it wasn't about the deep state, no one was brainwashed in masses. America just was tired of being seen as being moronic after 8 years of Bush. Now here's the conservative side. Obama fucked up the economy about as much as Bush did, and that was a serious concern. America could not simply get away with looking and acting good. It had to be more pragmatic. That's the current state.
Nazis in space to an actually nuanced and multifaceted nation. Still authoritarian, still predominantly fascist, but given enough depth that you can potentially see the Sith Empire actually working and prospering within the context of the game's story. This is what Steven Universe wants you to think Homeworld is. a flawed but complicated nation, but it does a lot of telling and absolutely no showing. The viewer is constantly put into positions where they're expected to sympathize with Homeworld, even when they're doing terrible and horrible things.
Now, again, I won't or can't comment on Steven Universe, or this sugar person, but ultimately, how you can criticize such a massive half of the population with legit needs, perspectives, and rights, and just boil them down to Nazis is fucking retarded. As tempting as it would be to simply call you a communist without anything of value, I'm pretty sure I've done that more or less, because that's a dangerous dogma that shouldn't be tolerated. And if I were given the choice, I'd take McCarthyism over putting up with Antifa and their swill and rhetoric. I fully understand. I'm sure there's someone out there with a better plan than I have, and that's called humility and common sense, Lily. I suggest you look into it.
Get to the troubling part of what Tumblr likes to call Bizcourse. Bismuth's whole idea of using the breaking point would be to shatter the diamonds, who she calls the Homeworld elites, or the upper crusts. Probably the agates as well, as they're little more than taskmasters right down to wielding whips. Doing so would remove the gems, keeping every other gem oppressed by Homeworld, which means that to the don't kill your enemies in a war types, Bismuth was immediately mischaracterized as a bloodthirsty psychopath who wanted to shatter every Homeworld gem, despite it being made very clear not one scene ago that she was a Homeworld gem until Rose opened her eyes, and as such would obviously assume the other Homeworld gems only needed the same awakening once the diamonds were out of power. It says something about the discourse surrounding an episode when one side of that discourse has to lie to make their bullshit sound more credible. Bismuth is never once characterized as a bloodthirsty psychopath. She's a soldier, and as such trains to fight. I've talked about how the contextless condemnation of violence is a problematic attitude to have in the past, and here it is writ large. If we're not going to destroy the all-powerful force that constantly threatens Earth, what are we supposed to do? Sit there and refuse to do anything and let them wipe out all organic life in the galaxy? Because that's what's gonna happen if no genuine opposition's made. This is what happens when soft, comfortable moralizing are put above sensible, non-crazy decisions. Maybe it sounds like I'm making a big deal about this. I mean, it's not like fascism is currently on the rise in the real world again. Oh wait, yes!
Except North Korea and Kim Jong-un is from a country that historically has been propped up by a communist regime. Not to mention, for Russia, that's an ex-KGB member.
Rebecca Sugar approved of an episode of Steven Universe that told kids that killing a Nazi makes you a Nazi. An idea that is wrong at every conceivable scale of resolution and is only believed by perpetual cowardly fence-sitters, naive children, and actual Nazis trying to game the system in their—
Jesus fucking Christ. How you can waddle through this without an ounce, a shred, a smidge of self-awareness is stifling. You know what? Fuck it, I'm done. I want you to put on a backpack, or two, and go to your miserable land and send me a letter when you get there. I've never seen someone so utterly fucking happy, being so totally miserable. Thank you, fuck you, bye.
I saw that freaking thumbnail! Oh my god, damn! That's already more brutal than I would think. Oh, Jesus. Alright, we ready?
Yeah.
I need to buffer this.
Oh my boy god. Map, you savage.
I've already got, oh trust me, I've already got a good react for him.
That picture just I feel all the salt coming from that. That's so brutal.
Oh. Hopefully I can watch this.
Oh, thank God Ninja's not learned how to hit me back like that. Dear God. Alright, we ready?
Yep.
Clicking it. Alright,
For a while now, there has been a thing going on with Toon Critic's evil twin brother, who, from what I can tell, has now—
Twin brother, motherfucker, you already screwed up.
Ever since that newbie Dash video of theirs, the dark side of TK, known as Cartoons, spelled with a Z, has been on an ego-stroking rampage to the point where he's getting his image onto other people's channels. This even happened to me at some point.
I like the thumbnail. Or the background music.
As he momentarily evaded my channel. Or at least I allowed him to because KG asked nicely.
KG?
While I've been asked by a few on what I think of Cartoons and his crusade to become the new face of the brony analysis community, a subculture in the brony fandom that everyone, even members of the analysis community, haven't really given a shit for since season 4 ended. So having given into peer pressure, I decided to take a moment of my time to study this guy. Not talk about, study. Now, when I first saw Cartoons, I thought this was going to lead into an interesting storyline. Maybe one where Toon would reveal some personal things about his past and try to overcome them in a battle with cartoons that really challenges their duality. And while something like that does happen, it quickly turns into another I Quit situation, as where Cartoons is now in complete control of TK's channel. From there,
Downloading
it
this.
just dissolves into a one-sided and completely boring overuse of this guy's ego, trying to present himself as edgy and egocentric.
I believe he's calling you Triple H.
I'm well aware that this is all a character.
That's my life in
Oh my goodness!
But in the short amount of time I've been exposed to this alternate persona, I got completely tired of it. It has more than overstayed its welcome, and I'm going to point
He went commentary mode, my word!
reasons. First, there's the design.
I wanted him to play it up for lulz, jeez.
An ash ketchup hat and striped glasses that I can only assume are made of plastic. It's a very uninteresting design on its own, and it doesn't really stand out.
Oh my god damn, man.
It's almost like he doesn't get the point.
Well, Ryan, if you want to do a response video.
And the beforehand knowledge that his OC is red and black is certainly not helping. Now let me just take a moment to
Well, how would he not? What?
That's racist!
Do you realize what you're doing, good sir? You're practically presenting the Pokemon anime. A sorry excuse for a show.
That is not what I'm doing!
What? I don't know what that. I don't know where he's going. Ryan, why is the wind pink?
Well, hope he's ready to have a script done on him. BRB. Here's my YouTube downloader.
Oh yeah, I went there. I don't think I'm talented enough, Ryan. I'd love to go with this. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
I've been watching it for a while now, and I've already said that it's uninteresting to me, but I've yet to actually say why. He seems to be really attention hungry, which is further elaborated by how he invaded everybody's channels. He's confident and very sure of himself, given how he challenges others. And with his edginess, he uses it as a means to convince others, as well as himself, that he's superior. A superiority complex, if you will. All of these things could have made for a likable, ego-driven character, but unfortunately, none of it is done in an interesting way. The way that
Give a good example of how it's done well.
with that squishy attitude and that unengaging design clearly shows that it's all being done to make himself look like a big shot. It would be one thing if it was being done to explore the duality between Cartoons and TK, but it's not being used for that. It's clearly being done just to show Zack's embrace of this new personality. Every single time he starts talking about how he's going to dominate everyone, it really gives the vibe that he's just trying too hard.
Oh my god damn. Oh my god damn. Where did I...
There's literally nothing else to this persona beyond that. It's just him shoving his ego into
You know what it feels like? It feels like a Smark no-selling a goddamn pro wrestler. It's like Dave Metzer busting someone's balls.
Anything to work off of. For one thing, I just finished doing a roast of Lily Peet, who was more warranting of a roast because there were more subjects surrounding her for me to tackle. And even if I wanted to call out this new persona on Zack's and make fun of it, the jokes would have gotten old very fast. He doesn't really do anything outside of just presenting his ego and making himself look like a big shot. There's only so many times.
That's the point!
Things alone.
That is the point, I thought.
I just didn't think that it was worth it. For me to roast the guy would imply that I have a gripe against him. But
If with a little bit more inflection, this could have came off as really funny. But he didn't want to roll with it, you know?
Without anything of actual interest to be thrown into the mix, I felt a lacking amount of motivation to tackle this persona in the first place. If by some chance there will be a future plot point that TK actually reclaims his balls and tries to fight
Oh my god!
I'd be very welcoming of it. It'll give Cartoons more to do with just his ego, and it could make for a fun high-stakes conflict, in that he now must fight off against his creator in order to keep the high ground that he's claimed in the last several weeks. But as of right now, Cartoon seems to be your basic run-of-the-mill dark twin of an established character. He's egocentric, pushy, edgy, defiant.
That is the fucking point!
Now, if
Oh wow, I wish she'd take a stab at Thunderblind. I'm dying to know what he thinks of her.
Watching Ice Age Collision Course. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Miss Anthropony, over and out.
Well, okay. There's some points to it, and I do feel like there's a lot of air balls in there. I feel that he should have run that by somebody first. With feedback, that could have been something.
Can I fire back at Map during this?
Okay, yeah, sure. Ryan, thoughts? That needed a quality control so bad.
Let me see. How do I word this? Arthritis.
Arthritis, indeed. That's
arthritis.
So what? His cutie mark is now a wrist with like an ow symbol.
Like it's not the worst, but it's that point when you're realizing, ah, frick, I'm gonna die. It's the realization that you're gonna die. It's not the death, but it's the realization of death.
Like you've locked your car keys in the door and you're in the desert. And you're not really in pain right now, but yeah, okay, I got it.
All I'm going to say is that was the dullest knife I've ever been stabbed with.
It started off strong, and I was like, oh, this looks very promising, and then I was like...
that was the point where I realized, oh, I've been stabbed, but then after I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
No. It's kind of like a train wreck. You walk up, and at the beginning of the video, you're like, ah, crap, a dead body! And then you walk out a little bit more, it's like, wow, there are a lot of dead guys here.
Yeah.
It doesn't even phase you anymore.
It honestly, I'm the only reason I was even remotely upset is because this fucking idiot doesn't get the point of the art.
I feel so bad because I was like, hey, you're good at roasting people, Matt, you should do it. He did say he didn't want to do it, so now I feel fucking horrible because I put him in a bad way.
Not only is this like it's like a train wreck where you're surprised, like, oh my gosh, a dead body. And you see a bunch of dead bodies, it doesn't mean anything to you anymore. Then when you get to the end of the train wreck, you think to yourself, wait a second, these are all just crash dummies. There was no train wreck, was there?
Shall I add Keiichi in here now, or if she's here, I should say?
Let's see. I am home. All right, I will chuck her in. There you go.
Whoop.
Indeed.
Oh boy, we have a packed cast today.
We do have a packed cast.
I will. You know, can somebody please ask a map related question in this?
I feel that I'm going to cut that Misanthropony thing off and put it on its own side thing.
You got a lot of people in here, Zach. You sure you need me in here?
Liz, if anything, you get a good front row seat.
I'm opening. What is it? I'm gonna keep a tab on this video. I'm gonna open
Songs
a
of
blank
Mystical
document.
Enchantment.
Here we go.
I'm gonna open a doc for later. Commentary on Misanthropony.
Oh boy, fantastic.
That'll be fun.
Indeed.
We got Ninja.
Okay. Are you guys getting ready to start, or do we have a few minutes?
I could give you a little bit of time, Keiichi. We've just watched
I'm
Misanthropony's video roasting, loosely speaking. Roasting.
That's like trying to throw a fucking tiny ass match at my boot.
I'm imagining. I feel like I'm back at that expensive restaurant, and I just look down at the steak and going, "This needs to go back in the oven, man."
Okay,
so wait,
I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
Misanthropony decided who's Misanthropony?
Well, I was like, "Hey, Map, you should do cartoons." He's like, "I don't think it's a good idea." I was like, "No, you're meant to do this." And I was like, "Let me get permission from Toon." Yeah, I did ask. I was like, "Oh, I think it'll be fun."
The reason I said no is because I find it to be incredibly cringy, and I felt like even if he tried, he wouldn't be able to hit me as hard. I'm right, so.
Well, he didn't. I'm not sure I would call that trying, Toon. That was certainly a thing.
It certainly didn't feel like it. It felt more like just him expressing his opinion that he doesn't care for the character, and that's it. I'm like, all right, well, that's you and everybody else.
Like literally,
well, that sounds like
literally, the most I could say to him, it's like, oh, you don't find it interesting.
No. Indeed.
Yeah, that sounds like walking up to Hitler and calling him a dork.
Like, no. Like, I noticed he had a lot of circular reasoning. Why do I think he's uninteresting? Because he's uninteresting. That was a big majority of what I heard. Just like, okay, I said that he was uninteresting, but I never explained why he was uninteresting. So why do I think he's uninteresting? I think it's because he's uninteresting.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm back.
Welcome
Really
back,
explains.
Kiki. The joke isn't funny, Ryan, because I'm not laughing. I know.
I only chose a Pokemon hat because red and black here. Like,
No,
No. Here's the thing. It's like, I don't think he's interesting because he's an egotist. And my thought process is like, yeah, but A, you don't really give any examples on better examples, because if you did give examples and better examples, I would be able to follow your
there
point
should be more better examples of this, like me. Like, sure.
Oh yeah, and there's not any other better example. There's not. You don't really say. He doesn't really give any examples of it not working. Like he doesn't really show why it doesn't work.
He sounded like he was about to give an example why it did work, and then it just cut away. I'm like, oh, that.
You want to know something fun? I remember at Anime Midwest last year where I had to bump into him, and I was doing another panel with some friends. He apologized to me and gave me like this paper plate that had a piece of cake on it, and I'm just like, I have no idea how I'm supposed to respond to this. I'm not eating that though. No way, no how. I'm not even hungry anymore.
Jesus.
Lace with
Looking at a piece of cake made me not hungry.
Like I see. Here's the thing. I feel sad because at first I didn't even hate Map that much. I was going to have him back.
I don't even hate Map. I just think he's pathetic.
Oh wow! Jesus.
Wow.
All right. When we're done doing this, I will have to stop the recording so I have a whole separate thing. Because this doesn't feel like it fits the cartoons theme.
Oh, it does. Cartoons. Okay, you've not seen the upcoming stuff that Cartoons is going to do to other people. This would fit in very nicely.
Okay. I guess
remember, we're doing this no filters, no pulled punches.
Okay, well that's the good thing. Thank God I brought so many people. If I start sucking, I could just sit back and be like, just you, me, and the guards! Alright.
Oh, we're the fucking unlucky 7 here. All we need, you know what? We just need one more person. We have the Hateful 8.
Oh God, no!
You ain't never been as cold as Kichi.
I do need to get a drink real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, I drove straight home after work. I was like, gotta make the podcast. We gotta make the podcast. Oh crap, they kicked me from the room. Let me text Anthony and let him know on the way.
I didn't know if you were gonna show up.
Yes, I specifically said 5 because I knew that's when I would be home.
Alright.
Alright.
I was like, oh, let me text Anthony and let him know that I'm coming.
I don't think I saw it, sorry.
No, you did, because you responded. Well, not text, Skype message.
Yeah.
I was like, don't start without me, don't start without me, don't start without me.
But so do not debut trick shots here.
Who?
Oh God, not trick shots.
Peter.
Not trick shots. Please,
I would like context, Mr. Dreams.
Peter has a cartoons version of himself that he wants to bust out here.
I want to hear about it.
Here's the thing: is that like, I was just doing a voice. Like, remember when we were in the room at the last day?
Yeah, we were playing Spyro on the last day.
And I whipped out this voice to like pretend to be like semi-MLG while playing it, and then I got in character with it, and then it just turned to a character, and Toon was just like, "Hey, we should have cartoons have little brother, and that should be how we act."
It eventually turned from little brother to biggest fan. So.
Oh God.
Yeah. So we came up with this guy named Trickshots. He's got this Mountain Dew color scheme with his Xbox Live headset constantly on. A John Cena. Okay. Someone asked me a question.
Hey, Trickshots. What are your thoughts on Mario Kart?
Mario Kart is for faggots. It's for faggots who don't know how to play a real racing game. Then again, there is no such thing as a real racing game because FPS is the only kind of game that should actually be played by non-faggots.
You sound like the guy from South Park!
No. Okay, here's the problem and the critique I got for this. You sound like you're channeling comic book guy from Simpsons, but he's trying to look like a dude, bro. So I don't like. What?
He's not meant to be taken seriously.
Yeah, this is not a character meant to be taken seriously at all.
No, I got it.
Yeah, but he's not.
It's actually funny though.
Imagine that cartoons is Scooby-Doo. This is his Scrappy-Doo.
No, he sounds like the stuttering kid on South Park that's always trying to be a comedian.
Oh, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Yes, that's who
Jimmy.
you sound like.
Just like a non-stuttery Jimmy.
Yes.
But yeah, actually, believe it or not, Anthony, you're the only one who's made a connection to The Simpsons.
It did kind of sound like Comic Book Guy, but now I'm hearing the one Kichi suggested.
Yeah, like most people make the connection to South Park more often than not.
It's just the voice. That's what it sounds like.
The dismissive way you talk, because you always like no sell the shit out of everything. He's like, "This is the worst thing ever." And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds like Comic Book Guy."
I was actually imitating a guy on. I actually based it off of a guy on YouTube, actually, because I don't watch enough South Park to get the voice.
Here we go. Here's trick shots.
Yeah, that's trick shots. No, we can't hear you, British Ninja.
Nope.
We don't even see an audio reception on your side.
Nope. But
that's trick shots.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, try speaking British.
Hello?
Yeah, we hear you now. We hear you now.
All right.
Yeah, he's based off FaZe Booze, isn't he?
Yeah, I based him off because I was almost pretending to be like something based on FaZe Boost when I was playing Spyro, and I was inspiring some things, but then I sort of developed my own character off of it.
He sounds like that one skit from Game Grumps. Mickey Mousecapade is the worst game ever. What is it, game designers? Get with it.
What?
Well, I know one of the most common things I ask. Well, one of the most common things I give when talking about games, and I'll probably use this because Toon Critic wants me to do a Kingdom Hearts review as trick shots.
Oh God, no.
But here's one of the things I will say in there is now I will give all you faggots a brief history of gaming. Gaming did not officially start until the release of Call of Duty. But even then, it was not perfect. It was not perfect until they got exojumps and supply drops.
By the way,
I'm hearing Jimmy more and more now.
Like a grown-up Jimmy.
Yeah. Okay.
Jimmy from
South Park.
I haven't created. I don't think I've created a character that's a gigantic dick.
Okay,
Oh wait, it's just me.
I was about to say what Takamoto isn't a dick.
Hold on, be right back.
That too.
Okay.
Takamoto is a dick to everything.
I do.
Everything.
I will definitely keep this backup file, but I want to keep this separate from the podcast because I get the feeling this is going to run long. And I've already got like 20 minutes of other stuff going on here.
You never know what you can get this from. So let me know when we're ready to start.
Yeah, wait for Teach to come back. You know it's beautiful though, with all these many assholes. I don't have to worry about going to the bathroom.
I'm just trying to think like,
dude, I just did that.
Like, I'm using asshole as a catch-all.
Trying to think of questions. Like I've written down some sick burns. But...
Liz, you can throw some think of some questions you want to throw cartoons or sick burns or something.
Well,
I'll try.
Ask all the shit you would normally not ask in one of the regular podcasts, British Ninja. I've already read out my 30, and I was like, oh. And I'm like, I'm glad I only did 30 because we've got a bunch of buttholes in this call. I mean, I'm sorry, Bliss. Now that Toon's got me thinking about it.
I could just try and act really maternal, because one of the lines in the script we have, because my book leads to the creation of Blight, and then that influenced cartoons, so I'm just like, well, call me a mother, because I just gave birth to 2 beautiful children.
You monster.
Blight and frickin' cartoons are Aeon's creations.
Wait, Anthony, a question I am normally not allowed to ask on Limbo. Cartoons, how many black people do you want to hang?
Okay, that's a bit much. Jesus.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh my god, dude.
Moon Man.
You will never catch cartoons using... Like,
No.
Like, dropping, like, those kind of slurs. Like, he's bad, but he's not
I was gonna give... You know what I thought of when you were talking about trick shots and cartoons? Because you said he was freaking out cartoons. Who here is, like, listen to D12?
Ah!
Okay, there's, at the end of that scene, remember where he's, like, roasting fucking Fred Durst?
Yeah.
I dye my hair blonde, he dyes his. I stick my middle finger up, he sticks up both of his! Hey, what do you know?
Goodness.
I think the worst thing I ever said in the hotel room. No, I'm not sure if I want to say it on recording.
Let's not.
Yeah, you know what I'm. You know what I.
I know what you said. I don't want that repeated.
I think I've already capped the awful joke-o-meter.
Okay, well let's look at it this way. Are we confident, or at the very least, the person who needs to stay in character for the most, this is going to be tuned? Can we do this?
Hell yeah, I think we can.
All right.
No. I'll save all my potentially racist jokes for another podcast.
I just gotta get into character for this shit.
You know what? You could go Asian. That'll make Kichi happy. How's that? All right, I'm gonna stop this recording and